Welcome in. Avij of Avij Gaming here, bringing you a reading of one of the Remnant 2 lore books located on Yesha. If you haven't, make sure you click that like, subscribe, and notification bell to know anytime one of these videos drop. I pen this now to honor the life of my queen, the great mistress of the many-faced god, Tethys, mistress of light and shadow, my liege and lover for whom I have dedicated my short life. In my time with her, there was a great sorrow about my queen, as if she knew her age would come to pass. Premonition perhaps of her own fate at the hands of Poxeltech. Perhaps this is why she honored me with her tales, that I might put ink to paper. Countless stories were told in the quiet of night as we lay in peace, but I found those of her consorts to be the most illuminating of her own life and virtues. That I may lay one day in that hallowed ground amongst great company is an honor unimaginable. And so, here, in these pages I write the tales of those whom my great mistress loved, myself omitted, for what great folly is there in telling the tale of oneself. Mysterious Marquis. Ohue was the only honest trader in the age of rebellion. He sided with no army and supplied only the innocent caught between, trading under his family crest the sigil of the fate-bound hands. An honest pan in a dishonest age. Such a fellow could not last long. Led by one called Bet, Ohue competitors became conspirators. Ohue was accused of treason and jailed without trial beneath the dark ziggurat. It was an age gone on when the Marquis of Night came to court. He was by turns dashing and brooding, and possessed of a great fortune. Jinnis welcomed him, for by this time the imperial coffers were growing bare. He joined the merchant circle, and pan by pan the circle began to shrink. Could it be coincidence that those who sat the circle were the same pan who had framed Ohue? That they had used an honest man's disgrace to gain favor with Jinnis and grow fat? Tethys thought not. She confronted the Marquis at sword point on a rain-swept rampart. But Tethys' weapon never found the Marquis' heart, for his words struck hers first. In the end, she kept Ohue secret to her grave. Yes, even from your humble author. And when they found Bet's corpse, 2 swords had pierced his heart. The Widow's Widow. Little is known of Chen Keishi's youth. Where and how she was raised are mysteries she took to the bottom of the dark sea. Even her name is uncertain, for Chen Keishi is but a sailor's vernacular for wife of Keishi, and it is under that name, Chen, or sailor's wife, that she sailed till the day of her death. For Chen possessed great beauty and greater cunning, one or both of which caught the eye of sharp-edged Keishi, master of the Black Fleet. Of the pirates who stalked the dark coast in days of yore, none was so admired or feared as Keishi, save the one that he took to be his bride. Shipboard life was harsh, and sailing was feared by many pan, in ages after our sea-swept exodus. Yet Keishi and Chen Keishi sailed 2 black galleons at the head of 50 more, till Keishi passed sweetly in his aged sleep. Chen and Tethys met in war, for Jinnis had her fill of piracy, and seeing Keishi's passing as a sign, she had sent Our Lady to stop the Black Fleet. The battle raged for 3 days before the parley was called. The light of the setting sun set Chen on fire as she swung by a rigging from her ship to Tethys. She lit a fire of her own in the hearts of all the onlookers. The conference in the captain's quarters went until the sun was seen anew. And when Tethys and Chen emerged, 2 things were certain. The Black Fleet would sail as the Empress' most royal privateers under the sigil of the bowsprit wave, and Tethys, latest consort, would lead them. The Philosopher in rags. How does a pauper find his way to the bed of a queen? Taofandim was born on the outmost edge of great Jinnis Empire, in the winding warrens of Pram. Despite the remoteness of his homeland, Taofandim enjoyed a childhood of wealth and privilege, the only son of Pram's soul mint. Yet this led to an adolescence of utmost disgrace. Taofadim's parents were caught amalgamating coin, stripped of their wealth, and hung by a mob. Penniless, Taofadim fled to Obelisk with only loincloth and sandals to his name. In this era, Obelisk was home to the great Socrates school of pan-philosophy. Rebellion was an age of ages off, and that school's master had not yet betrayed her highness. Wearing naught but ragged loincloth and his own fur, Taofadim demanded entry to Socrates' hallowed school, and was turned away. Undeterred, Taofadim set up residence in a barrel outside the great institution's portcullis. Day upon day he would regale the learning masters with discourse on life and death, sun and moon, even the plight of the Rin. Ere long, Taofadim's barrel was moved into the auditorium, and Taofadim had a new title, instructor. It was Tethys' habit to attend the school's annual festival of thought, for our queen possessed a great thirst for knowledge. Each year she would take conference with Socrates and his best instructor. This habit led her to Taofadim, who was sunning himself atop his barrel. Our queen was shocked and demanded of Socrates, "This is your greatest teacher, clad in rags, Why has no one offered this man silken robes? He does not wish it, replied the schoolmaster. And why has no one brought him a divan, so that he may recline in grace? He does not wish it, Socrates repeated. Now Tethys addressed Talfidam directly. Learned one, your queen, Tethys, the most powerful Pan in Obelisk, asks you now, is there nothing I may do for you? Talfidam thought a moment, then smiled. Highness, you can move out of my light. Tethys' unlikely dalliance with Talfidam is perhaps best encapsulated by his sigil. Tethys offered to restore the philosopher's family sigil, that of the fire-forged coin, but Talfidam accepted only when Tethys agreed to modify it. Thus the fire-forged coin became the beloved symbol for the absurdity of life, the sigil of the fire-forged snowflake. Archivist. Julius Gossamer was a scholar of great renown. One could fill a tomb with tales of his 1,000 travels, and better pens than that of your humble author have done so. Instead, let us take a more narrow view. Let us speak of how he was summoned to Blisk Gadol. Julius lived a life of irony. For his brightest time was the Age of Shadow, that woeful epic when the grandeur of the Pan was sinking below the waters of memory. Julius himself spilled much ink upon the decline, unflinching chronicles of the lowest acts of the highest born. In Julius' histories, the proud and the powerful are consumed by the preservation of their pleasure. They are complacent or complicit as the treasures of Pan life, our music, our craft, our very society were dulled by the hoarding of portions which dwindled to scraps and thence to crumbs. Julius saw it all and held nothing for proprietary sake. People's queen was seldom seen in that age. Empress had called upon the Red Widows to anoint a permanent guardian of the many-faced gods, and Tethys had been quick to volunteer. Some say it was duty. Those who knew her best say she simply wished to mourn the world she loved in private. Either way, the most divine beauty and the best ruler of the Pan shunned the eye of the world and shut herself within the holy ziggurat. Imagine the great surprise then, when word went out that Tethys had summoned Julius to her side. Would he not savage her as he had a half-dozen others of her station? But Tethys saw in Julius' work a gift. He could see past crumbling, past fading, past dimming to the beauty that used to be. He mauled his subject not for glee, but because he could see what they had squandered. Tethys commissioned a complete history of Blisk Gadol. Julius rendered the work with such delicacy that one can gaze into his charstick sketches and see the glitter of the golden way, taste the wine of the banquet, and feel the hum of the crystal court. It is enough to make at least one reader who had known these at their height weep. Julius saw past the predations of time and malfeasance. He saw the city as it once was, and perhaps he saw its queen that way too. Dedicated every subsequent work to her, always the same inscription beneath his sigil, the sigil of the fractured looking glass. To my only subject whom time could not tarnish. Ever as we were, one day we might be again. Let me say a big thank you for all who have watched and enjoyed this video on some Remnant 2 lore book reading. If you haven't yet, make sure you click that like, subscribe, and notification bell to never miss another video. Till next time, bye now.